There are moments in history that shake us to our core, moments when the life of someone young, driven, outspoken, melts into memorial. This is one of those moments. This is the story of Charlie Kirk, his journey, his influence, and the tragedy that struck when he was cut down, speaking his truth. He was just 31 years old, a force in the conservative youth movement, a man who believed in debate, in conviction, in standing where he might be uncomfortable, because growth often lives in discomfort. Charlie Kirk co-founded Turning Point USA, and he built a life around one central idea: that young people deserve a voice, particularly in politics, in activism, in defining the narrative of freedom. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie took the stage at Utah Valley University as part of his American Comeback Tour. The crowd had gathered for his Prove Me Wrong table. Questions, arguments, passion, ideals. About 20 minutes in, under the midday sky, everything changed. While answering a question, a single shot fired from roughly 200 yards away. An open-air event turned horrifying in an instant. Charlie was struck in the neck. What followed was chaos. A stunned crowd, screams, people collapsing to the ground, blood visible, shock rippling across the faces of those who came to hear him, who believed in him, even those who came to challenge him. And then a rush to the hospital, a struggle to process how an event meant to foster ideas, to question, to engage, could become the scene of violence. And then, the news. Charlie Kirk died. That same afternoon. He was 31, a husband, a father, a man whose voice stirred both admiration and controversy, loved by many, contested by many more. Yet in his death, a common sentiment echoed from every corner: that political violence must never be the answer. That debate, dialogue, dissent, these are the bedrock of democracy. Let us remember Charlie more than as a figure of politics. Let us remember him as a person, someone who believed passionately in what he stood for, someone who sought to make an imprint on the hearts of the young, someone who embraced the discomfort of being challenged. His convictions were unashamed, his voice unwavering, even when polarizing. He forced conversations, he stirred commitment, and he inspired others to stand up. This tragedy stings because it reminds us how fragile our ideals are, how easily the space for civil discourse can be shattered. Yet, it also pushes us towards something greater: the resolve to protect that space, to honor those who use their voice, to ensure that beliefs are contested with words, not with bullets. To Charlie's family, his wife, his children, grief of this depth is impossible to put into words. To those who followed him, debated with him, were challenged by him, or were just curious, what he built will not vanish. Ideas do not die so long as there are those willing to carry them forward. So today, we mourn. We lament the life ended too soon. We reflect on accomplishments and conflicts both, because both are part of the whole. And we resolve that political violence must end, that debate must continue, that ideas, courage, and truth must be defended, that those who are silenced physically are not silenced in memory or influence. Charlie Kirk's story is one of fierce conviction, unwavering determination, and tragically abrupt loss. May his memory stir us to speak boldly, act justly, and guard always the freedom of speech and the space for disagreement. Because in that space and in the doing, we honor him best.